Hello and welcome to How Do You Drew?
This is a Drew Barrymore podcast brought to you by thedrewsium.com.
And sponsored by our friends at Positive Medium.
I'm Anne.
And I'm Ashley.
And hello.
We're back again.
We're back again. It feels like we just recorded.
Oh, wait, we did.
That's right, we did.
Yeah, we're doing this one early. So it's only been 2 days, right?
A few days, 3 days. Either way, if any huge news comes out, don't give us a hard time for not talking about it on today's episode.
We are low on news today because not much happens in that span of time, but we're here, we're showing up, and you guys, honestly, if we didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't even know.
That's true. That is true.
We're just too honest.
We just don't want to, be hiding anything. We don't want to.
It's all about transparency.
I mean, at some point, maybe we'll get ahead by a couple episodes, but...
Oh my gosh, right? The dream.
What a dream.
But here we are today. Let's do this.
Yes.
I found, and this is a very strange coincidence, but I found that Roger Ebert quote that we discussed in the last episode, how we used to have in our header, we would have a good quote about Drew way back in the day on the Drewsium.
On the Drewsium.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I didn't find our graphic. That's not how I found it. It was probably when I was doing Ever After research and I was going through 1998 magazines, I found an article that he had written after he had seen Home Fries at the Toronto International Film Festival, and he interviewed Drew there. So I had just read it, so I knew where to find it again. And
cool.
Yeah, so here's the quote. And again, this is from 1998. He says, being in the room with her is like inhaling a shot in one of those oxygen bars. It's a good one.
It's also, do those oxygen bars still exist?
I don't know. That's a very mid 2000s thing to me.
Totally.
So I'm 98 seems early.
It does. 98 seems early, but also I haven't seen one in a really long time. So just in case they don't exist anymore, it was a thing where you could have flavored oxygen.
Yeah, and you would just put it into your nose, right?
I never did it. Okay. So I'm not sure, but either way, I agree that Drew, being in a room with Drew is like inhaling a shot of oxygen.
Breath of fresh air.
It doesn't matter that I haven't done it. I can imagine that this is what it feels like.
You can tell it's accurate.
Oh, yes. Just another example of how lovely he was about her. And he really seemed to find her endearing, which
and champion for her.
I love it.
Yeah. So R.I.P.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we got some mail.
Yay.
You've got mail.
So who sent us mail today? Our friend Katie.
Oh, hi, Katie.
We've mentioned her so much on the podcast. She's such an amazing supporter. Katie, we love you. And I'll go ahead and read what she wrote us. She said, I'm manifesting this for you, Ash and Anne. Drew will follow you in 2023 and be a podcast guest for your 100th episode. Haha.
Which is great because we'd actually had a discussion where we're should we aim for episode 100? But we both decided that seems too far away.
Yeah. So we have another idea, but we'll just kind of keep it to ourselves until we can get things closer.
Yeah, good idea. But the following part, we'll just keep mentioning this until it's rectified. But Drew does not follow us on social media, even though she completely knows us and follows a lot of other fan accounts that are very inactive. We think it's an oversight. We're pretty sure if we told her, she'd be like, what? So anybody wants to take care of that for us, it'd feel real good.
Anybody who has the power and wants to just make that happen, that would be lovely.
Put it out there.
And Katie, thank you for using your lovely power to try to make it happen. I believe in your power.
Katie has made some cool stuff happen for her life, so I'm sure that she can help make this happen for us.
Absolutely. So what's our Drewism of the week?
Oh, someone's picking up, those cool little isms that we do.
Okay, so I had to pull something that wasn't current, but it was kind of current because I just watched it. Somehow I missed this, and you probably did too. So back in late 2021, Drew and her friend Pilar Valdez, they did this video for Cherry Bomb, which was the magazine they were on the cover of.
Yeah.
And they did this Friendsgiving kind of interview.
Okay.
And Drew was talking about their text thread that they were sharing when they were sharing recipes.
Oh.
So this is what she said. It was a visual cornucopia of a dream state and a culinary fantasy.
Yeah, that's an amazing quote. It's perfect Druism. And also, I don't remember this cherry bomb video
Yeah,
at all.
I totally did not know about it until I want to say maybe Drew Barrymore Rebel on Instagram had posted something about it recently, and I was like, what? How did I miss this? So I went and found it and watched it, and yeah, I thought that was
Cool.
an amazingly Drew quote.
That's great. I'm glad that we were able to pull so many of these. Thank
Me
you.
too.
Okay, so what were you able to find for this week in Drew history?
Again, we got lucky with the exact date that this is going to come out, which is January 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take you back to 2009, which is a fun year for Drew.
But also, like, I'm going to take us back.
Like Wayne's World.
Yeah.
So on this day, she was doing a press junket for He's Just Not That Into You. And I picked this one because I just really like her look here. So
Mm-hmm.
she was really going like into this sort of 60s vibe in the beginning of 2009 with like
Yeah.
the big sort of bouffanty hair. And she's wearing this sort of turquoisey blue dress, and she still had
A
her
lot of
tongue.
eyeliner.
Yeah, she's got
Yeah.
that like winged eyeliner. Just a totally different look from any other time in her life, I would say.
And I'd say probably another reason you love it so much is her hair is like super blonde.
Yeah, I do love this look, and it's just a fun vibe. That year, I feel like we could do an episode just on her fashion that year, let alone the events that transpired, because
Totally.
she was just really having fun with her looks. I wonder who her stylist was that year. We should find out.
That's a good question. Also, yeah, she was having a lot of fun.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a fun little one. Picked it. It's not like super memorable, but it's a unique look for her, and she's super cute and looking foxy.
Totally. And if you want to see this adorable look, make sure you check out whatever selected picture we choose to share on the episode page.
That's right. And the episode pages are all on howdoyoudrew.com in case you didn't get the memo. All right, you want to hear what's new with Drew in the past 2 days?
Absolutely, I do.
Well, this is a big one. Yesterday it was announced that the Drew Barrymore show has been renewed for a 4th season.
Yay, Drew, we're so proud of you.
It's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
I did.
I'm just speaking to her as if she's listening, because we did ever after episode and everything's changed since then.
She's a regular listener now.
Yes.
I did a little post on our Drewseum account on Instagram. I'm not a post, sorry, a story. And I tagged like a bunch of people that we follow who work on the show. And a lot of them responded, which I thought was really sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I think that being our only what's new for this week, I think is worth the price of admission. Is that what I want to say? I think it's basically like that's big enough that it can fill
for sure
the fact that even if we have anything else bigger than that, doubtful.
Yeah, doubtful. And it's just great because we know how happy she is with this job and how much she absolutely loves it. It's good to know that she can have that kind of like, okay, we've got more coming. Like I'm happy for her. Yay.
That's so great. I mean, like, that's so wonderful. I feel so like for her to be going into her 4th year of something.
Yeah.
You know, like to be able to, like, she's always had projects other than like stints on TV shows. Like, yes, she had Tentaculated Diet, but like to have something that's like continuing when she's always had like a movie that she's had to come and go from, or like a consistent job. Like,
yeah, consistent family of crew members. I just thought of okay.
God, she's probably so happy.
We're happy.
Yay, Drew, we love you. Dun dun dun. So we jinxed ourselves here by doubting any big news would come up, but here we are. And these are too important to wait. So this is going to be a little bit of a rough kind of plug-in, but we found it important enough. So Ashley, go ahead with news number 1.
Okay. We wanted to get in here right now because the very, very, very popular Instagram account Dumois has been getting all kinds of messages about Drew's mystery man, who maybe she's still seeing, maybe not. It hasn't been made clear, but she has been getting a lot of comments about it, and she also spoke about it on her podcast. So she said that she knows who it is. She won't reveal the source. And she also said that Drew's just been really good to her, so she's not going to reveal it, which is totally admirable.
Yeah,
we'll respect that. She said that she didn't think it was someone that Drew had been linked to before, but That doesn't mean those of us in the know
Yep.
wouldn't know better. And that she'd never heard anything bad about this guy, and that he was a popular actor in the 90s. So those were some new clues. We also already knew he was smaller, slight in stature. Yes. And that he doesn't live in New York, and that he was someone from her past who she.
But did we know? Oh, so she said it was someone from her past, but
Yeah.
and then Dumois said she didn't think that they'd been linked romantically together.
Right. And I
Got
said
it.
kind of the same thing, where this wasn't going to be one of her exes. Like, she made it really clear that that wasn't the case.
Yes.
It was just someone she came across on a dating app. Another hint.
Yes.
So I've been talking with Renata, who's from Drew Barrymore, Brazil, and she's like the most resourceful. Like, she puts me to shame. And she messaged a couple guesses to Dumois and was told, no. Like, I guess we can say now who our previous guest was. Do you want to say?
Sure. It was Spike Jonze. They had a little brief, like, at least they made out. There were paparazzi pictures of them making out. Is that right?
I think at least kissing briefly or something like that.
Okay. Yeah. Or just maybe just like a peck on the cheek or something. But we thought it was Spike Jonze.
So then we're kind of going through all the potential, and we were feeling really clueless. And then we had a really good guess because you had a memory of something that really clinched it.
My memory was basically that I had come across this same person that we think it might be on Bumble when I was dating.
Not that long ago, right? Like within the last year?
Within the last, I'm going to say probably about 9 months ago.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And that clinched it for me. And then I will just say that Renata messaged this guest to Dumois, who would only respond with some emojis, that like the zippered mouth emoji.
Yes.
So whether or not it's true, obviously we can't verify.
Yeah, we're gonna just respect, Drew's privacy for
Absolutely.
now. I think she's gonna maybe just open up with it at some point. Like, I don't know.
If it's true and if it
think?
continues, yeah, I think she can't help herself. Like the way she spoke about this already, I could tell she was giddy and excited and saying more than she probably planned on.
Yep.
But thumbs up for me if this is correct.
Yeah, same here.
Big thumbs up.
And we do think this is probably the same person who's like been sending her postcards. Like,
right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's our little tease. I mean, I guess it's kind of a big tease, but it'll be fun to find out if we're right.
Follow the clues. And that's all we'll say.
Yes. And now if I can move on to the next big news. So musician David Crosby passed away on January 18th at age 81. And he had served a really important role in Drew's life. After she was released from rehab, he was her sponsor, which, if you're not familiar, it basically kind of means that they're like their support system, kind of emotionally and through the process of recovery. And Jan Dance, his wife, was also served a big part in Drew's life at the same time, same kind of role. Drew lived with them for a short period. We don't know exactly how long, I don't think, do we?
We might be able to piece it together once we really go hard on the Little Girl Lost research.
So, yes. So the a couple of tidbits that Ashley remembered, and we kind of have put together some of our memories, even though we haven't had a chance to do a reread of Little Girl Lost, is that David Crosby was the first man whose roof that Drew ever lived under. So she never lived with her father. She had this kind of father figure in Steven Spielberg, but she never lived there. They became kind of her surrogate family a bit. So David Crosby and Jan Dance served kind of an important role.
I remember her saying like he was the first man that she had to like follow the rules. Like, they set a curfew, they set rules for her, and it was like, oh, this is new for me.
Yep.
And obviously she needed it, and it was a very positive thing.
Yep.
We spoke about this on an episode way in the beginning about him coming on and talking a little bit about having known her dad. Yep. And I think also her mom, and knowing like that was not going to be the support system that she needed.
Yep. And I think we mentioned them because he appeared in at least one sort of biography show about Drew.
Yeah.
And talked about a little bit about like Drew's parents and that experience. I don't remember if he talks about in the show actually Drew living with him, but it was sort of like he kind of pops on as like somebody who's aware of what was going on with her.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like candid photos of them together in like 89, 90. So it's very obvious that he was a big part of her life. And we're kind of surprised she hasn't posted anything about it yet.
Yeah, she might still just be absorbing it.
True.
The other thing that was kind of interesting to find out, which you found out, is that if you search for Drew Barrymore, David Crosby on Google, the only image of them together online is from our website.
Yeah, like the only one that's actually, it's not like spliced. Like,
Yes.
Here's a picture of him, like a real photo of them.
Yes.
Somebody took one of our scans and reposted it on Pinterest, and
okay.
One of our old ugly watermarks is at the top of it.
Nice. But this has encouraged us that we would like to tackle her rehab and recovery years relatively soon, because it's a really huge part of her life, and it would be we would be remiss not to at least go through Little Girl Lost soon. So book club, anyone?
Yeah, that would be fun if other people read it at the same time.
Yeah,
but they have to find it. I told you it's like impossible to get now for
that's true
a reasonable price, which is
that's
wild.
True. So strange.
Anyway, we're sad to hear about this
Yeah.
news, and we just wanted to make sure we included it in a timely manner.
Yep. So that was definitely worth it to pop in and drop this in this episode. And thanks for listening to our little stumbled addition to this episode. Okay, so now we get to go into this week's amazing topic.
Yeah, so we kind of teased that this was on our radar as something we were going to do. And we're doing it. We're going to talk about when Drew hosted Saturday Night Live in 1999.
Woohoo!
A real good one. I think, and this is probably coming from like a sentimental nostalgia place, but I think this is my favorite of all of her hosting duties.
Watching it again, I think that there are like little skits from other ones that I remember, but like many of these are super memorable, and many of them I like quote from.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I think it might be my favorite of hers too.
And probably like when you just said about quoting it often, I feel like I I definitely rewatched this more than any of the others. Like I've seen this so many times. So it is like just more in my head.
I think so too. I was trying to remember like how I would have rewatched it, but either way, maybe we'll get into like our own watching at some point.
I'm sure you had it on tape like I did.
I'm sure I did too. I just don't remember like putting in my tapes, but I bet I did.
Oh, I know you did, because we used to do it at your house together. I was there. It happened.
That's awesome. So do we want to go into like kind of her history with SNL a little bit?
Yeah, because it's extensive. And I do want to give a little shout out again to the podcast Saturday Night Live Hall of Fame, SNL Hall of Fame, I believe it's called, because they definitely were part of the inspiration for this when they did their episode about Drew. So thanks, guys. So one cool thing is that SNL debuted the year Drew was born, 1975. So she's the same age as the show.
That's so cool. I don't know if I ever realized that.
That's fun.
And then it's also a trip to think that it was only 7 years later that she hosted.
Yeah, they were both 7, her and the show.
And I was trying to remember if she still is the youngest person that's ever hosted. I believe she is, right?
She is. Yeah, she still holds that record and she's proud of it.
Yeah, that's so cool. So she was literally 7 years old, just having, released E.T., this little Barrymore.
Baby Barrymore.
I mean, we might be able to go and do this episode at some point because there's lots of fun little things. But one of the most memorable, I feel like that's either in like specials that have been done about her, but one of the things she says in the what do they call it?
The
monologue?
Yeah.
Yeah, like she doesn't do a typical monologue. She's just being like interviewed kind of by one of the cast members. She's like, would you like something to drink, like a glass of milk or something?
Oh, yeah, that's the cold open. Yes.
Hey, come on. Can I get you a glass of milk, honey?
Milk? I'm a Barrymore. Get me a drink and make it a double.
And make it a double.
I feel like we quote that one a lot too.
It's ominous, but like you look back and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I think we won't talk too much more about the 82 one, but I think the other thing that we say a lot is the skit with E.T., which I think is the funniest one. And Drew says, I killed him. I killed the little sucker.
Also the New Jersey thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to New Jersey. It smells like cheese. Okay, moving on.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so 1999, 17 years later, she hosted Saturday Night Live again for the second time.
Crazy that,
It's like so crazy.
yeah, that's such a long gap.
But yeah, we'll go through a couple other little facts about like the show, and then we'll move on to the episode. So what else we got?
Well, I was going to just be selfish and personally say her first episode in 1982 is the year I was born. So I was 17 when she hosted again in 99.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. All right. Drew also holds another record. She was the first woman to ever host 6 times. And that's now been tied with Tina Fey and Scarlett Johansson. They've tied that, but that's pretty awesome. I love that.
It's also like, I don't want to really downplay Tina Fey and Scarlett Johansson, but I'm like, Tina Fey was a cast member. Does it count? Like, yes, of course it does. And then Scarlett Johansson's like married to one of the people in the cast. So it's like Drew's the other one that legit has it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, on her own merit.
Yes. So beyond those 6 hostings, she also made several cameo appearances, one being as Ann Coulter when Cameron Diaz hosted in 2005, and another on Weekend Update mocking her 2006 Golden Globes dress, where she like kind of famously, she maybe wasn't wearing a bra, and it's pretty funny. I think that's a really funny skit. I love that they played off that. I think at the time, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were doing Weekend Update.
Yeah, that's right. And it's just a great example of Drew taking something where she was kind of made fun of pretty mercilessly and turning it around and having fun with it.
Yeah, totally. And then also when they had a 5-timers club with Jonah Hill in 2018, which they do. So if someone's like hosts for their 5th time, I think they like all have like little jackets that they wear, right? That have like a 5 on them. And I think it's like Tom Hanks is one of them. So apparently Jonah Hill must have been kind of quote unquote inducted into the 5-timers club, and then Drew showed up.
Yeah, and then, you know what, this just reminded me, we don't have notes on it, but she also appeared on the cover of The Hollywood Reporter with other 5-timers, and I like just posted a picture from that photo shoot on our Instagram, and I completely forgot.
Oh, cool. I forgot that was a 5-timers club thing.
Yeah,
that's super cool. Yeah.
She's also been impersonated many, many times on the show. There was one way back in the early 90s. I don't know if you've ever seen this. It was like, I think it's supposed to be like former child stars gone bad, all hanging out or something like that. And one of the cast members at that time, I'm not even sure who it was without checking, she was like kind of Poison Ivy looking Drew.
Oh, funny. I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah, it definitely like doesn't have Drew vibes. It's just kind of the look, you know?
Okay.
But yeah, also Kristen Wiig has done it at least like 3 times, I think. And she to me is probably the best example on this list.
Okay.
We've talked about Kate Hudson. Katie Holmes did it once. Chloe Feynman, of course, recently. And there's even been more than that. So she's very tied to the show.
Totally. And can you just kind of refresh my memory on the Kristen Wiig? Like, what's the context of it?
So there's one that I think was the Prince show. And I think that was the first time she did it. And she has like dark hair. So we're talking probably like 2005 or 6. Okay. And the only thing I really remember is she says something about like having dinner with Fabrizio and Lucy Liu. And like the way she pronounces it is just spot on. And then there's the Zooey Deschanel Being Quirky show.
Oh, okay.
That one's really funny because she's like talking about what she would name her children in the future or something like that. And she says,
and if I had a girl, I would name her. It's a family name that my grandfather John Barrymore made up by falling asleep on an old typewriter.
I collect those.
I know.
Oh my God. I am thinking I maybe have never seen either of those.
Oh my gosh. And then I forgot about this until I listened to that SNL Hall of Fame podcast. But when Drew hosted the last time in 2009, in the monologue, I had totally forgotten this. They did like, oh, here's my old relatives in their old movies.
Oh my God, I loved that one.
Yeah, you remember? And they were all talking like Drew.
Yes.
To varying degrees of success, but
yes. It was funny, though. It was really funny.
Yeah, but Kristen Wiig definitely, I think from like knowing Drew personally, and she just has a good ear for like her, I can hear her voice and go like, yeah, some of this is really accurate.
We actually have some super rare footage of my great aunt Ethel Barrymore performing at the Lyceum Theater in Henry Ibsen's A Doll's House.
How unreasonable and how ungrateful you are, Nora. Have you not been happy here?
You see, Torvald, at first I thought I was happy, but it has never been so. That is what our marriage has been, Torvald.
Okay, so the last little tidbit before we jump into more about the actual episode.
Drew also attended the 25th anniversary of the show in 1999. They did a special, and I think Bill Murray hosted it, if I'm recalling right. But
Okay.
do you remember this? Like, Drew's in the audience and he starts singing TLC's Waterfalls, Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls to her.
No.
Yeah. And I remember like there being a thought, and I'm not sure where this came from, if it was like a gossip magazine or what, but that it was possible he was kind of referring to the fact she was trying to cast him as Bosley and Charlie's Angels at that time. And he was basically like, you're not going to get me. But
then
joke's on
they
him.
got him. Yeah. That's really funny. I like it. I wonder, I'd want to watch it again and see if it's like, it seems obvious what the context is supposed to be for him singing that to her, or if it's just like vague and only like at that time, only they would have known that, right?
True.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, last thing before we jump in is that the last time Drew hosted Saturday Night Live was unfortunately 2009. And what I was going to say when you said that maybe the 1999 is your favorite is I just can't help but think about from, I think 2009, the exercise video one.
Yeah, I think that one's 2007, but you're right.
You
That
might
is
be
one
right.
of the best skits for sure. That one's so good.
Make sure you check out the episode page because we'll post at least one picture from each of her hosting gigs on Saturday Night Live, but we'll have many pictures from the episode that we're discussing today, which is from March 20th, 1999. So let's get into it.
Yeah, we should also mention that you can watch most of this episode on NBC's Peacock.
Yes.
Most of the episode, and we'll tell you what's missing as we go along.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool that you can do that. So if you guys haven't watched in a while and you want to watch along with us, go check it out. It's worth it. It's fun.
Also, just note if you want to look at archive.org, they actually have like a less high quality version of it that has some of the missing pieces, which we'll discuss. So if you want to see the whole thing.
Yeah, it's basically like a VHS rip. Like probably exactly what we have recorded somewhere.
and actually, I kind of wish it had the commercials. I know that seems silly.
I thought that too when because they kept like starting and then cutting off. I was like, oh, I would love to watch these commercials. Okay, so that's how you can watch. Let's get down to it.
Howdy, Droobies.
We want to tell you about our sponsor, Positive Medium. We've actually been clients of theirs for at least 10 years, and they take care of all of our website needs for thedrewsam.com.
They offer custom web design and professional coding, search engine optimization, marketing, and hosting. So we've been hosted by them, but we've also been able to take advantage of a lot of their expertise in these other areas as well.
Absolutely. So customer service is the biggest draw for us with this company. They have saved our site literally from obliteration quite a few times. But then they also help us with minor issues in just like literally a matter of minutes. So if we have like a coding question or just like something on the back end we can't figure out, we reach out to them and we get an answer back and the issue is solved within moments.
We're so excited that Positive Medium is allowing us to offer our listeners 25% off managed WordPress hosting plans using our promo code DREW, D-R-E-W, of course. And if you want to take advantage of this, visit positivemedium.com. We really, really vouch for these people. They've been so great to us and will continue to be great to us. I can only imagine.
I mean, they're great by offering this to our listeners. So take advantage. Again, it's promo code DREW, of course. We're going to go back to March 20th, 1999. And the cool thing about this, there we go again. The crazy thing about this is that Drew, the next day, so that was Saturday, obviously, on Sunday, she was out in LA attending the Oscars with Edward Norton. Like, that's
what a trip.
Wild, right?
That does not seem like in my head it makes sense, but
it doesn't seem healthy.
We were in it at this time, so we
know.
Must have known that. Like, it's just a trip.
Like, it was such a great time.
Gosh. And I love that an Oscars look. We don't have to get into it, but okay.
I know.
So the musical guest for this episode was Garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
You and I both love garbage, so that was really fun.
Yeah. I just want to note that it always seemed like Drew was more prepared than a lot of other hosts. And I'm not trying to like be rude, like, but a lot of times you see the hosts, like you can tell they're reading cue cards. And I know that they make changes like very last minute. And sometimes that's really difficult and maybe unavoidable. But Drew never does that. She always seems so prepared when she hosts. And this one, like she doesn't miss a beat. Like she is in it and on top of everything the whole time. It's just so
You're
good.
right. I think that she just blended in so well.
Yeah.
For some reason, like I could never obviously see her as a cast member, but she just like she's been so great on every time she's done it. And I think sometimes people are much more nervous. Like she maybe seems a little bit nervous in the monologue, but beyond that.
Yeah, I think there's like a giddy excitement that's a little bit
but she
tinged with
just seems
nervousness.
like she's having an amazing time. Like a
I
genuinely
think she
amazing
was.
time. Yeah.
Do you remember watching this for the first time?
Not explicitly. Like I've seen it so many times that I don't remember that like specific things about the first time. I do kind of remember, this is like unrelated but somewhat related. Do you remember that like I had a TiVo like for a long time before a lot of people had DVRs?
Because you were always ahead on that type of stuff.
Yes. And there was an episode, I don't think it was this one. 2002? Was she on 2002?
2001, but you didn't have that one because I had to look into that another time. Or
Wait,
maybe I'll just say it now. You couldn't watch it.
Because my mom deleted it from our DVR.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. Do you not remember like...
Okay, I don't remember that part. All I remember is that the janky way I shared it with you was I took photos of my TV screen and I used my horrible little computer mic to record the audio for you.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just go back and kind of finish what I was trying to say. It was basically like the reason you had to do that is because my mom was trying to make space on the DVR and I hadn't had a chance to watch it. So it was like either the next day or like 2 days later. And I freaked out. Like I was like, I can't believe you would do that. Like anything related to Drew. Like I was like so mad and so mean to my mom because she deleted it.
I mean, this was a different time, you guys. If something got deleted, you're done. Like good luck ever watching it again. We didn't know the internet was going to come out with all of these things in the future.
Absolutely. But here's the interesting thing about that is that when I finally was able to record it, it wasn't the first airing.
Yes.
And oftentimes when Saturday Night Live does a second airing of something, they put in stuff from the
dress rehearsal.
Yes. So I had dress rehearsal versions of stuff and she had like different wigs and like it was crazy. So the version I have of the 2001 is different than the first night. That's
cool.
just something like I have actually like thought about that. Like I want to like compare them.
Well, you know what's funny is I noticed going through our like we have really nice high quality photos from this 99 episode.
Yeah.
You know, like the press photos or whatever. And they're all, at least I can assume all from the dress rehearsal. There's things that are different, like her hair and her clothing. Even like it's pretty cool.
That's cool. And before we move on, do you remember watching it?
Oh yeah. The thing that I remember, so this was like, whoa, am I like really into Drew at this time, right? Like it's like I'm obsessed at this point. Yeah. And I was a senior in high school and I don't remember any of the details of where I was or who I was with, but I was at a party and I had like, you know, my VHS was all set up to record, so that wasn't a problem. But I think I just like wasn't feeling where I was, like the party. And I was like, God, I'd so much rather go home and watch Drew's SNL. So I like pieced out and went home to watch this. And then I remember in YM magazine, do you remember this clipping where it was like an advice column and somebody wrote in and said, like, I'm really obsessed with Drew Barrymore. Am I okay? And I remember that the answer said some nice things, but then it said, like, if you're avoiding spending time with your friends so you can watch Drew instead. I was like, oh shit, that's me.
That is amazing, Ashley.
I felt very called out.
You're like, did I write that?
I know.
Oh my God.
Do you have that really clipping? Because I only like cut out the photo from it. Do you know the one I'm talking about? It's like a girl looking at a framed picture of Drew, all like, ah.
I don't know if I do. Is it an illustration or a photograph?
No, it's a photo. And like I remember people thinking it was me.
No, are you serious?
Yes, because she's blonde and you can only see her from like the side.
Was it like your friends?
I don't remember.
That's really funny.
Oh man, we're really going down memory lane.
Yeah, and we haven't even started talking
I
about the
know.
episode
Whoops.
yet.
All right, let's
Okay.
try to focus. We don't want to forget to mention. So I think they call these bumper photos, the pictures that come up before the commercials or after the commercials.
Yep.
It's like they lead into each separate skit.
Yep. And the one thing that's really neat about them on every SNL episode is they do a unique set of like a whole photo shoot for that episode.
It's like a nice bonus that we get.
Yes. Way cool.
So they're done by Mary Ellen Matthews. I think she's still doing them all. Like she's been doing them forever, as far as I know. I don't think she did Drew's 82 ones, but I think she's done all the other ones.
That's awesome.
Yeah. This one is adorable, of course. We're like in peak,
yeah.
like cutesy, wholesome Drew era, I guess. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yep, absolutely. And these are really cute. A couple of them, maybe only one of them was printed in a magazine, but otherwise they're completely unique to the Saturday Night Live episode.
And the funny thing about them, and I feel like I remember recognizing this at the time or maybe soon after, but she's got some sort of headwear in every single picture, whether it's a hat or a headband or whatever it is. Yeah, every single one. I'm like, that was an interesting choice. I wonder why.
Do you have a favorite?
I mean, I really love the one where she's wearing like, and we don't have a good quality one of this, but she's wearing like a headband and she's kind of holding her hands by her face and looking up to the side. That one's really beautiful. I don't think it's my favorite. I don't know.
Is that kind of the flappery one?
It's like a embroidered headband that just goes across her forehead. I guess it's flapperish. Yeah.
It kind of looks flapperish because there's like pearls around her neck.
Oh yeah, you're
that
right.
One?
Yep.
Yeah, between that one and I also love the one where she's wearing like the feathery thing around her neck and also has like kind of like a hat. Those two I really love, but there are several of them. It's kind of actually surprising how many there are.
They're so cute.
And they're so cute.
Yeah, and we'll throw a couple in the episode page. Go check them out.
Definitely. Don't miss them.
Okay, so are we ready for this?
Yeah, why don't you start with the cold open?
Okay, so the cold open. I remembered this well for some reason.
Totally.
So it's supposed to be the Oscars red carpet, and it's with Joan Rivers, and they have Joan Rivers like she keeps sending the like, okay, back to you, and she sent it to her daughter Melissa, which that was one of the funny things about it.
Yeah,
I don't even need to get into that part, but that's funny. So they're like their dynamic was always really funny. So if you're familiar with that, you'll kind of know like that it's funny anyway.
Yeah, it was accurate.
Yeah. And then one interesting thing, and I knew this as well, is that hosts don't often appear in the cold open. In this case, Drew does. And she appears as Cher. And she's wearing like this like strappy black outfit. And I think it's like modeled straight after something Cher wore, right?
I mean, it definitely has the right vibe. If nothing else, she's got like big black boots on. It's very different for Drew.
It's so funny.
You're half Cherokee and half rubber. Who are you wearing? It's my own design. Oh, you look like a spider hooker. Joan, we go through this every year. I don't care what you think.
She's wearing like long black wig, like totally Cher-like, and she's got like these like iridescent kind of like things coming out of her hair. Like it's amazing, and Drew's doing like a great kind of Cher voice.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Very different for her.
So I mentioned that outfit, but then one thing that comes into play with the outfit, and I mean, you got to just watch this, but Joan Rivers, Anna Gasteyer is Joan Rivers, is that right?
Yeah.
So she's like slowly transforming into like a demon. And she like first is like somebody like walks up, I think it's supposed to be like a Tom Hanks, and he's like, something smells strange. It smells kind of like it's rotting. And then slowly like Joan Rivers like starts to like hiss, and then her teeth change, and then she like has wings. And I think by the time she's like almost fully demon is when Drew as Cher comes up. And then when she like starts to like transform, Drew as Cher like pulls out this cross, like a huge cross she's wearing on the like as a necklace.
Cher, you've got a hit single. You sang at the Super Bowl. Your career's back on track. Why? Back.
and then takes off running.
Yes.
I also wonder if she runs because she needs to haul butt backstage to get changed for the monologue, which is why the hosts normally aren't in the cold open, because they need time to repair. But you know,
Good
Drew,
point.
she's
And
like, I'll do it.
I didn't even think about that, just because it's like real time. Basically, they're having to transform. So she had to have had her hair done the way it is in the monologue underneath that wig.
Under the wig,
that's such a funny thought. All right, let's get into the monologue, which I love.
The monologue is definitely like, this one is so near and dear to my heart.
Me too. I was like singing along to it.
Yeah, I know the whole thing by heart. I think part of it is because like we were getting so knowledgeable about her at this time, but like we're still newbie Drewbies, right? So when they basically do like a bio of her life in a song, it was like so cool. And I also remember that newsletter that we were both part of, like, transcribed the whole thing in one of the newsletters, and I thought, oh my god, okay, so Drew's wearing this long black dress. There's kind of like this, I don't know if I call it like a cape or a shrug around it as well.
It seems like it's part of the dress to me, but I'm not sure. Like,
it's pretty, but I don't know if you remember noticing this at first, that like there's a brief shot of her from the back, and it's like there's this huge hole in the back of the dress around her jade tattoo, and that comes into play, and there's a point. She also has a headband, which I was thinking, she never wears headbands. That's like such a different thing for her. In fact, the only example I can think of is Doppelganger, which I think was probably just to help with the hairpiece.
Yeah, how funny.
But it's cute.
Yeah, I don't even think I actually even really noticed the headband. But
yeah, it's just like different for her. It's fun. I also have a feeling that Kate Hudson might have used this part for her impression, because the mannerisms are really similar, and like the way she's like, thank you, like it sounds so much like Kate's version.
That's a good call. That's so funny.
So I think that would make a lot of sense. Like I could see them easily pulling up that footage for Kate to see, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so she's like, thanks the audience, 100 times, but finally they get around to talking about her 1982 hosting and how she was the youngest person. They show the clip of that guy asking her if she likes video games.
Here's what I looked like back in 1982.
You like video games?
I love video games. If I have time off and someone says I can go arcade, I say, terrific, anytime.
So cute.
So cute. And then they do a song about her life. Before we talk about the song, do you remember when she went on the Rosie O'Donnell show like a couple weeks later, and Rosie was like so mad that the chorus of the song doesn't rhyme?
I think she even like came up with some options of how they could have made it rhyme.
Life hasn't even upped the score for Miss Drew Barrymore.
Yes, I do remember that.
Anyway, it always makes me laugh when I hear it now, because that's like how I hear it.
There are so many fun little tidbits. I mean, you just have to like check out the entire thing. We'll just kind of highlight a couple of things. So Chris Kattan comes out dressed as a whiskey bottle.
Now in my younger days, my life was like a haze. I used to drink a lot, and then I smoked some pot.
She drank and smoked all night, and it was out of sight, and everything was great, but she was only 8.
Like Pat's Hut,
some pretty funky hands for Miss Drew Barrymore.
That's so funny. They go through that she went to rehab, and then her marriage to Jeremy Thomas, who's just referred to as a British gent.
Yes, and I think they say something like kind of an accident.
Yeah. You're right. They talk about poison ivy.
But then suddenly, I was a double D. I got a movie called Poison Ivy. She went on that.
And the Letterman flashing. Sherry O'Terry comes out and does like a little flashing, which is great.
She's got like tassels on her bra.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the little bit about vegetarianism is really cute.
And she became a militant vegetarian.
And then they talk about Playboy, and I think that's when the tattoo comes up.
Yeah.
Yep. So like that, I don't remember the full line, but they say she has a tattoo just above her can.
A Playboy spread was excellent.
And then she turns around and points to the tattoo that's been exposed by this little hole in the dress, like Ashley mentioned.
Oh,
so
gosh.
cute.
And then this is so great. It's Jimmy Fallon comes out as Adam Sandler in The Wedding Singer with like the blue jacket and all that, and does that.
Then me and Adam made The Wedding Singer.
She's back in movies, back on the A-list. It would be so nice if you all saw Never Been Kissed.
And it's just so fun to see them together. He does a couple skits, which is unusual because he was just a featured player.
Yeah, I didn't even remember that he was in it. Like, I kind of forgot, even though I totally, like, when I think back, I'm like, oh yeah, he was there as Adam.
Well, he's so young. Like,
he's
he
really
looks
young.
so different.
And also, they had, like, actual full skits together when she came back years later.
True.
So it's, like, cool to think about.
I know. It is really just fun to, like, think, like, oh, he's going to marry Nancy one day, and they're going to be like, you know, it's just fun.
Yeah. Like, this is, like, 6 years before that happened. Like, that's a trip. Or more. I don't know when they actually got married, but I think they met in like 2005 or something.
Oh, they got married in 2008 because remember she brought Justin as her date.
There you go.
Yep. So anyway, that's the monologue. Oh my God, it's so great. It's
monologue
so fun.
is like classic, amazing, and totally holds up. Like, it's fantastic from beginning to end. So the first like actual skit post monologue. We have Celebrity Jeopardy, which, like, Celebrity Jeopardy with Will Ferrell as Alex Trebek, so great every time.
Yeah.
They're always ridiculous.
And I think Daryl Hammond does Sean Connery in all of them.
Every time.
I know that was like a
so
reoccurring thing, right? Yeah.
It was done at least 3 times with Alex Trebek, played by Will Ferrell. So in this, Drew is Callista Flockhart. And they make a lot of jokes kind of about how thin and tiny she is.
I know, it's a little body
It's a little
shaming.
cringy. Yeah, it's a little cringy to me. But to make her look like her, she's like kind of like has her shoulders sort of like slunk down, and then she's got her cheeks kind of sucked in to make her look a little thinner.
Yeah, I was thinking it's kind of funny that she does Callista because Callista comes on the next year and impersonates Cameron Diaz really well, like a really good Cameron impersonation. They did like Charlie's Angels on Weekend Update, and they're all like playing with their hair and being like really affectionate, and that's the whole joke. And the guys are like, I think it might have been, I don't know if it was Jimmy Fallon at that time. Whoever the guy is just like, yeah. But yeah, Callista does such a good Cameron Diaz, like weird, right? Like you wouldn't think, but she nailed it.
That is super random. I haven't seen that, but that's great. I don't, this is not like a burn on Drew or anything, but I don't think it was a great impression of Callista.
Yeah.
Necessarily. But the thing is like that everyone else is, I shouldn't say everyone else is so strong. Well, yes.
Yeah, they are.
I would say that Will Ferrell and Daryl Hammond, like, I mean, they carry this whole skit every time they do it.
And Jimmy Fallon.
But then Jimmy Fallon, yes.
So good too.
Okay. And I think I misspoke a minute ago because I thought they weren't in a skit together, but they were here. Duh.
The things I remember the most, like I made these notes without even watching it, this part.
Yeah.
Like because I feel like we say it, they ask like months that begin with Feb.
This is the only month that starts with Feb. Mr. Connery.
Febtober.
No. Callista Flockhart.
What is Feb today?
No.
She shed turd.
I hate you. The answer was February.
So good. And then of course the penis mightier. It's the pen is mightier, but he reads it as the penis mightier, and it goes on this whole thing. And Nick Cage is asking, wait, are you selling penis mightiers?
Yeah, it's really silly. It's really silly, but like as I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is great. This is great.
Yeah.
This I was like, this holds up. Like it's Drew's cute, but like she's not the strongest part of this skit. Like there are better skits of her in the rest of the episode.
Agreed. Yeah, next up we have a Banana Republic store skit, and this one speaks to me. I always used to think about it a lot. I worked in a clothing store for many years as like a manager, and I just would think about this all the time because the whole point is how they're greeting people. So Drew is working there, and she goes up to everybody and says,
"Hello, how are you doing today?"
She's got those cute little butterfly clips in her hair, which is so funny. So of the time.
Yeah, and when I saw the clips, I was like, oh, that seems like it's that would have been like out of touch by then, but no, it was like that was like really popular then to put those tiny butterfly clips in your hair.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I also come from a retail background, so I'm familiar with the like, did you greet the people as they walked by you?
Have you noticed, this is total sidebar, have you noticed the way that people greet at all stores now? What they say? It's not this. They all say welcome in. Watch, start noticing it. Every store you go in now, that's how they greet people. Welcome in. It's the weirdest thing.
It's always welcome in.
Yeah, not welcome. Welcome in.
Weird.
I know. Anyway, I actually love this whole skit. It's so like kind of random and accurate. I love when she's like, I don't know how this guy is doing.
Wait a minute. You don't know how he's doing?
No, I have absolutely no idea.
Well, you asked him, didn't you?
Well, of course I asked him. I'm not an amateur.
Chris Kattan is so funny in this skit, like his mannerisms when he like throws all the sweaters off. Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
So that, like, I think the beginning is kind of like, this is a little bit like, I understand what's happening. Like, I understand, but I was kind of like, this is kind of lame until Chris Kattan throws the sweaters off and calls Will Ferrell.
Panic. Yeah. It's like an alarm goes on.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have like a red phone.
It's so good. And Will Ferrell's so good coming in as the manager.
He's like smoking and then he throws the cigarette on the ground.
He's like,
and
I'm going to need a
smashes
cup
it.
of coffee.
Yeah. And then he's drinking it and like banging on the door.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Drew is adorable. I love the little thing Drew has tied around her neck, like a little.
Yeah, like a little scarf.
It's
like
cute.
a little ascot. Yeah.
She looks cute, and like you said, and how I feel too. Like we can relate to this kind of like, you gotta ask and you gotta like, customer service.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so they have 3 little bits throughout the episode where they do like fake VH1 behind the musics, and this one is the only one I think that has Drew in it. But there's one later that we'll mention. So Drew and Edward Norton shows up. They play Captain and Tennille, and it's really cute. They kind of are like insinuating that the captain like thinks that the album that they did was like really, really great. And
why are you laughing? Why are they laughing?
They're not laughing.
Well, they're sort of snickering a little bit.
No.
They look so cute in this.
I know. And the cool thing is, you know, it's not like very blatantly obvious it's him because he's got like the captain's hat and some sunglasses on. And I definitely remember realizing it was him. I don't remember how. And this feels like this, and then him being with Drew at the Oscars the next day. Like, this is what pushed me into like really getting into him. And that's why I went and saw Fight Club. It's like, this was.
And I was just going to say, this was right before Fight Club came out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love when she says,
a captain is just like a sergeant. They're both in the armed forces of music.
But this one is missing from Peacock, which is so annoying.
Right.
I think the music is playing quietly in the background, like licensed music.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So if you want to watch this one, go to what Anne found on archive.org. You can watch it. It's fun.
It's really
okay. The next skit is the How Do You Say Ah Yes show with Antonio Banderas. This is like a reoccurring thing I remember at that time. Chris Kattan is Antonio, and then Drew comes in as Melanie Griffith. And this is probably like one of my lesser favorite ones.
Me too.
Yeah, it's just like, I guess the whole joke is his like broken English the whole time, which I feel a little like, is this okay now?
Yeah, and he keeps kind of like putting down Melanie Griffith, like
like very rude.
He like says like nice things about her like lips, but then, or no, maybe he doesn't like her lips. He's like, they're 2 pieces of licorice, something. And then she's like kind of like showing her body to him as if like that's like, oh honey, like showing her chest. Yeah, Drew is cute in it, but it is a little bit like,
I did read, though, that supposedly Chris Kattan got into a little bit of trouble after this because very last minute, he like put that hair on his upper legs to make it look like it was coming out of his underwear and like didn't get the okay to do that.
Oops.
So that's kind
I
of
wonder
funny.
why, like, got in trouble like just by Lorne Michaels or something?
Yeah,
or
that's what it sounded like. I don't know if it's because he like changed the rules or because that was a little risque or who knows.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. Like the skit itself, I'm like, whatever about.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fallon though is really cute in it because he's part of the band.
Yeah.
And
Too
he like
sexy.
yeah, he keeps like trying to like convince him not to take off his clothes because the whole thing is like Antonio Banderas is so sexy that it's like dangerous if he takes his clothes off.
Yeah.
No, you don't have anything to prove. You're a very sexy man.
Well, it is getting hot in here, no? Well, I think I'll just... No, don't do it! It's too sexy, my friend! Too sexy, don't do it!
Yeah, that part's cool.
Okay, so then this is fun. So Garbage was a musical guest, as we noted, and this little bit of her introducing Garbage has been used in memes.
Yeah.
So in it, she says,
Ladies and gentlemen, the very sexy Garbage.
and I've seen it. I'm sure you've seen the same thing.
Yeah.
It says something like when a girl introduces their friends to their new boyfriend.
Oh,
like
that's
something
funny.
like that.
I don't think I've seen it in that usage of it, but that's good. I did know it was like a meme, which is like so random that somebody picked up on that, somewhere along the line. But
Yep.
And this part is also missing from Peacock, we should mention. So
Yes.
Again, probably music licensing.
There is like a Twitter.
Yes, I know about this.
Yes, where they just have the people introducing the musical guests.
Such a fun, like niche little account. I love that.
Yes, it's totally cool. But I was like, oh, if it's missing from Peacock, they're probably using archive.org footage. Like I just realized.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But anyway, it's kind of fun. Maybe we can find that and link to it as well.
Okay, next up we have another skit, and this one is Dog Show, which I really enjoy in general, but there's some things in this one. It's funny
Turns
to
out
look.
there's a little bit of problematic stuff.
Yeah, looking back on even 1999, which, if you're our age, doesn't feel like that long ago. If you're young, it probably does. But
yes, it's problematic, but not the most problematic.
no, not the most.
We'll get to that.
I think we both always quote this Will Ferrell line from here, though,
Yes.
right? Yeah. So Molly Shannon's character is like claiming that he's gay.
Maybe I find an evening of holding hands just as intimate.
That's because you're gay.
Maybe I am, and maybe I am.
I feel like we quote that one a lot.
I think so too. There are two dogs that are being married that are the dogs, or they're being introduced by Molly Shannon's character and Will Ferrell's character. Hilarious in its own right, like everything about that. And then Drew comes in. She's a she-male, quote unquote, kind of problematic.
Not our words.
And she comes in and she's like got her hair slicked back. She's kind of wearing like a masculine outfit. I think she looks amazing. She has like this really, really cool like mustache. It
Yeah.
reminds me of that 1991 or 2.
Oh, that's so funny. Photo shoot?
And then also, isn't there another thing from like 1999
Yeah.
where she's got a mustache?
Yes. So I almost made a note about this, but I erased it. It always reminded me of that 1999. It's an Ellen von Unwerth shoot that was done for Talk magazine. And
Yes.
she's like supposed to be Douglas Fairbanks Jr., I believe.
Yes. But then I'm also thinking of like the earlier, is
Yeah.
it 91?
Yeah.
Where they like
interview.
have the close up of her. Anyway. And then Drew is supposed to be officiating the wedding, or her dog is supposed to be officiating the wedding.
Attention! My name is Little Mr. Miami Beach, and I'm a fully licensed Unitarian minister. We are gathered here today to join Rocky Balboa and the beautiful Mr. Bojangles in holy matrimony.
I do love how she talks in this
Me
skit.
too. Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's so great. So great. One thing that's really neat in this, I love that you made this note. So Drew had worked with a couple of the cast members in the skit. So she had done Never Been Kissed with Molly Shannon, which was going to be released the next month. She had done, with Tim Meadows, had done All of the Other Reindeer.
Later that year, yeah.
And then she did Curious George with Will Ferrell a few years later.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty
that's
funny.
really cool.
I like that.
I was like really kind of stoked imagining like how Molly Shannon and Drew had already become good friends.
Yeah.
It was like, you can, well, I guess because of the next part, it's also really fun to imagine.
Yeah, you can definitely tell they're friends. Yeah, so they have this like kiss. And I was actually surprised to think back and not remember this being made a big deal of, because the next day she briefly pecks Liv Tyler on the Oscars and that photo is everywhere. And like,
that's right.
Drew's bisexual and, you know, tabloids. It's just funny, like that they should have gone all in and included this if they wanted a story.
It makes me wonder if any of those clippings like mention the Saturday Night Live thing.
They don't.
I feel like
maybe
they don't
I'm not
too.
remembering.
But you're totally right. Like, I didn't even think about the fact that it was the next day. But yeah, we have so many clippings of the like brief Liv Tyler, Drew peck.
It's just like nothing.
We're speaking from, again, like a lot of this stuff really accentuates the fact that it was a different time. It's great. I just love that like Drew and Molly Shannon are already like great friends. You can tell they have amazing like rapport, and then this happens and it's like a great part in the skit. It's a great skit. I love the song too.
Yeah, me too.
Whoa! Talk show!
Talk show! All right, so next are surely problematic.
Yeah. And I think we know this one is missing from Peacock, and I think it probably should be.
Yeah, I think so too. So do you want me to introduce it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so it's a skit that's supposed to be like an art class, and Will Ferrell is as recurring character Terrence Maddox, and he is coming to pose as a nude model in like a
live
figure drawing. So Terrence Maddox is coming in as like who is going to be posing for the figure drawing class. And first of all, he's like very like creepy and like really into like, he's like, let me warn you, like if you're pregnant, you're gonna get pregnant again as soon as I drop this robe, and like all this stuff. And then Drew enters and they have this whole story of her as his wife, and they do like a flashback and show that he met her when he was in Vietnam, and he like passes over 3 like Vietnamese women, or who I assume are like Asian women, and comes to her, and she's the only like white woman there, and she's also 13 years old. And when they say she's 13, yeah, it's good point. When they say that she's 13, he's got like hearts in his eyes.
Yeah,
and,
it
like,
is really
it's so creepy.
rough.
So first of all, it's like racist, and then it's like pedophilia. Like,
yeah,
it's
because
like,
then he makes like some racist jokes as well, like Asian.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I was like, I can't believe this was just totally normal back then. Like I was dying.
And I remember thinking it was funny.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's not like, because the character Will Ferrell is funny. Like he could like read the phone book, and I would think it was funny. Like,
right.
You know. And Drew is hilarious as the like underage wife, but it's like everything about like the setup, it's like it goes a little too far.
It's just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's probably why you can't find this one on Peacock.
Yep.
I will say that I felt like Drew's voice was kind of similar to her Smashley Simpson voice. That kind of like,
hey, baby, what's taking so long? I'm getting bored out there.
Like,
Lucy.
You're so right.
Hey, Smash.
What's up, Maven?
Scout.
You are so right.
So Garbage performs again next, and I don't know if Drew introduces them again or not. So
I feel like she does.
I feel like it too. The rip on archive.org kind of starts immediately. Like it doesn't even show the band's photo. You know how normally they do that. And it's like, I know somewhere in my brain, because I've watched it enough from the original airing, that I just don't know for sure. So it's kind of, I don't know why she wouldn't, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we'll be able to clarify this, but it might be quite some time before we can get access to our actual Saturday Night Live tapes. But it is interesting. That Garbage thing is missing from Peacock, so we can't clarify from that. Yeah. But like Ashley said, the performance is on the rip. And it's fun to watch I like Garbage, so it's fun to see their 1999 performance.
Yeah.
So then we've got another VH1 behind the music, and this is worth mentioning because I know that there are like several parts of this that I quote. It doesn't have Drew in it, but it's Will Ferrell as the guy from the B-52s. I'm blanking on his name, but you know who it is.
Yeah.
And so you wrote down one quote.
This is like the final quote. Well, the whole thing is he's saying like that he just likes to put funny words together for songs. So he's just like spouting all these weird funny words off the top of his head.
Nocturnal emission. Hey, I want to touch your pineapple.
Yes, and I think Will Ferrell is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like he's just sitting on a couch, even like the way he's moving around on the couch.
With his
We can
hands
move
and
on,
stuff.
but
it's good.
But it's a great one.
So you got to watch that one on the rip. You can't watch that on Peacock because the B-52's music is playing in the background.
Yep.
Darn
Good
music
point.
rights. They ruin everything.
They sure do.
Okay, and then we reached the end of the show. It's time for the good nights and the credits. So Drew's wearing that same floppy hat that she'll wear like 4 days later to the Matrix premiere, which is interesting.
I love that.
Yeah, and I
Yep,
think
I
that
love
was
it.
like the only time we ever saw her was those 2 times, and then we didn't see it
Yep.
again. She's not like a
Yep.
big hat wearer, so it's interesting that she was wearing this at that time.
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah. She thanks.
My best friend Edward Norton for being awesome, and I want to thank my friends for coming here and being my family, and I want to thank this cast and Lauren Michaels for giving me the best night of my life. Thank you.
So that's
Aw.
really cute. I like that.
Yeah.
She also thanks like her friends, but we don't know who
Aw.
came.
So I'm just gonna say 2 things. I always love these good nights and credits
Me
at the end of
too.
Saturday Night Live. For some reason, I love, even though it's kind of like a funny, awkward thing, that they make them like mingle on the stage until while the credits roll. But I always love seeing like everyone on stage. There's something really fun about it.
It definitely, I did like a couple of plays in high school, and it definitely has that feeling of like after you do like curtain call and everybody's like hugging and stuff. Like it
Yeah,
definitely feels
That's a
like
good
that.
point. I mean, it's like I've listened to a bunch of podcasts with like previous cast members or people that hosted Saturday Night Live, and it's like a hard thing. Like it's like the whole week that everyone's working their ass off to get the show out.
Yeah.
And then once they do this performance, it's like,
Woo!
so you can kind of feel the relief if you know that, but also it's
Yeah.
just like wonderful. But Drew says that it was the best night of her life, which is really
Aw.
cute.
And you can tell she was just having so much fun the entire time.
She was having a blast.
It's so fun.
Absolutely.
Gosh, I feel like we covered everything, more than everything. There's some tangents in here, but hopefully they're funny and nostalgic.
Yeah, thinking back to the whole episode, what's your favorite part, you think? Do you have a favorite part?
Yeah, I guess if I'm just going to go top of my head, it's going to be the monologue song, because it's just like,
Okay.
it was so meaningful to me at the time.
Yep.
You know, I
Yep.
just really have like sentimental feelings about
Yeah.
it.
I'm going to go hard agree on that.
Okay.
Like, it's such a good one. I think that it's worth, like, anyone who's listening, if you've never seen it, like, if you don't watch anything else from this, watch that. Like,
Yeah.
it's so fun. Drew is so adorable. Like, they're having such a good time. There's a lot of, like, guests coming in and out on the monologue. Like, it's a really beautiful way to kind of, like, and I don't know, it's the most fun, like, bio of Drew I could think of.
Yeah.
Like,
we should just
it's
like
really great.
take down our whole biography from the drewseum.com and
just put this up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right.
So we've reached the end.
Yay. This is a fun one.
Yeah, nice, succinct, easy. Like, we have so much nostalgia for this that a lot of this, like, we're able to just kind of think of off the top of our head. But I love that you were able to pull a couple little tidbits that added some color to this. Like, it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
And if you guys like this, you know, maybe we'll do another SNL one of
Yeah.
these days. But this one is like the one that it's just the easiest for me to go, oh, we can totally discuss that.
Totally.
If you guys enjoyed, also make sure you go. I'm still waiting to see who's going to be the first person to leave us a new review on Apple Podcasts. The race is on, guys.
Yep.
Get it in there. And then go over and follow us on Instagram at howdoyoudrewpod.
Yes, please. Also visit our website at howdoyoudrew.com. I've mentioned a few times this episode that we have episode pages for each episode, and they all have lots of really great photos of things we're talking about. A lot of things having to do with Drew are visual. I mean, you know.
Yeah, plus we include links of relevant stuff we talk about. So
Yes,
if like
yes.
you want to go see things we discussed, which I'm blanking on a good example.
If you want to be able to access the archive.org.
There you go.
If you want to see the Twitter account where the guy just shows people introducing the bands on SNL, which is for some reason really entertaining. You know. Check out our page and we'll link right to it. And you know what? Guess what? Guess when we're going to see you next?
Oh, Drew's Day? That little name that we coined?
So make sure you join us next Drew's Day. In the meantime, check out all of our social medias and rate, review, and subscribe.
Social needs to meet your social needs.
We love you. Thank you.
Oh, man. We're just being silly now. All right. This is a good one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode of the How Do You Drew podcast was researched and produced by Ashley and Ann from thedrewseum.com with help from our sponsor, Positive Medium.
Special thanks to Matt Costa for our lovely theme song, Roxy Prima for our adorable logo, and last but not least, Drew Barrymore and all the Drewbies who love her. We do this for you.
Thank you.